We first brought you a story about the Jackson County Jail in May. Since then, we've learned at least 5 inmates have received settlements alleging they were abused in the Jackson County Jail. Then just several weeks ago, another lawsuit settled out of court, and the former inmate spoke with us. An argument with a girlfriend landed Dennis Hooper behind bars in January 2009.
The charge was dismissed, never even went to court or anything.
But not until Hooper spent 26 days in the Jackson County Jail in a wheelchair.
Didn't seem like they were aware or had the knowledge of how to handle a disability or an inmate with a disability.
Because of the way Hooper says he was treated in jail, he sued. And this month, Hooper says Jackson County offered him a 5-figure settlement, which he accepted.
I was surprised that those situations still were present in the 21st century.
Hooper lost the use of his legs in a 2005 landscaping accident. He lost his ability to walk, must use a catheter to urinate, and has to take important medication.
I didn't get the medication at all.
He was kept in a separate cell in the women's jail, and since he didn't get that important bladder medication,
I was wetting the bed a couple times.
Hooper did receive a catheter to urinate, but the wrong size. On this inmate request form, he asked jail staff for the right size. Staff said they couldn't help him, so Hooper kept urinating on himself.
For changing clothes, sometimes they would get around to it, sometimes they wouldn't get around to it at all.
Hooper put another inmate request in, this time for a reflective device to check for bed sores. The response from jail staff? Denied. Hooper then requested to use the law library a third time. Response? Talk to your attorney. Hooper says his situation got even worse when, for overcrowding, he was moved to a separation cell. He filled out another request explaining, I was without light. I was forced to self-catheter myself using the hallway light. I fell off the toilet. On 1/14/09, I didn't receive my medication. 8 days later, he got this response from Jackson County Sheriff Mike Winters. I'm sorry if our jail does not meet your standards. It sounds like you might need to make some different life choices.
I was really shocked that an elected official would have such a response to a problem.
The sheriff has not returned our emails or phone calls since this interview in May when he said,
there's no issues inside the facility, and I don't see a problem.
Since that interview, we've learned of more allegations.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
Parking lot where the jail is.
The woman on tape is Lona Chesley, the mother of Jana Rampillo, who was an inmate in the Jackson County Jail in May 2011.
Jana, when did you have the seizure? Like 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock.
Jana's mom made this 911 call after she says a jail deputy called her and said to come pick up her daughter and take her to the hospital after Jana had a seizure in her jail cell.
I remember a voice saying, should we call Mercy Flights? And that voice not being hers. I remember her saying no.
Instead, Jana says she was transported to another cell.
And left me there unattended, without any medical attention at all. And they asked me for my mother's name and phone number.
The 911 call was made from the jail parking lot around 9:30 p.m., right after Jana's release.
At 7 o'clock, they said she had a seizure. Why didn't they call you?
I can't answer that question, ma'am.
When Medford Fire arrived, reports showed Jana had another seizure right there in the parking lot in front of EMTs.
I woke up from the second one by an emergency technician pounding on my chest.
Reports say the jail staff reported to first responders Jana had a seizure earlier that day in jail and that she'd been seen by the jail nurse. Rampillo says during the day she was in jail, she did not get important medication for a recent back surgery where she had metal pins inserted in her tailbone.
Topamax, which is used for nerve pain for me, but it's also an anti-seizure medication, which is a medication that you cannot just stop taking.
Jana never filed a suit against the jail, but she says the ordeal terrified her.
What do you think my 3 kids would say if I had died?
And another new case. The parents of former jail inmate Jessica Dodell filed a tort claim for damages after their daughter's jail stay that began in March 2010. Dodell had never been in trouble before. One of her lawyers, John Eckram.
A normal talkative, outgoing person, took care of her baby.
But then suddenly she began acting strangely, squeezing her infant son when he cried, fighting her parents. Dodell was arrested for the incident on felony assault and child endangerment charges. Then Jessica's attorney got a letter from a social worker in the jail that said she'd not been bathing, eating, or interacting with others. After 4 months in jail, she was transported to Oregon State Hospital, where, according to the tort claim, she was diagnosed with encephalitis as the cause of her strange behavior.
Her memory is very impaired. She has no short-term memory that I'm aware of. The psychologist was asking about her baby, and she didn't even remember having a baby.
The tort claim alleges the staff at the Jackson County Jail failed to recognize or failed to provide medical service, even though they did recognize Miss Dodell's condition. All charges against Dodell were dropped due to her medical condition. Sheriff Mike Winters would not speak with us about Dodell's case.
We weren't designed for some of the problems that we face, and we do the best job we possibly can.
But the social worker who alerted Jessica's lawyer of her condition, Dennis McNamara, did agree to talk with us.
We have a responsibility to try and treat the individual within some sort of fiscal constraint. We cannot just provide all the care that people want whenever they want it. The county would be up in arms about that.
But former jail inmate Dennis Hooper says it goes deeper than that.
Some of it was just downright malice, but most of it I just think was just ignorance.
In the last 3 years, the county has paid out roughly $200,000 in damage claims.